So today's topic is how to attract your dream girl, how to attract a woman that you really like, how to better attraction overall in the dating process. But not only will this help in your dating process, but this is also going to help in your relationship long term attraction as well. I want to be really clear. Attraction is something that we have to understand because it's human behaviors, psychology, whatever you want to call it. It is not a game. As you know, with my videos, and if you've ever worked with me, my coaching, my programs, I don't teach gimmicks, games, tactics, all this stuff. I always tell you we can do X, but make sure the X is you first, right? And make sure you get comfortable with it as well. So, with that said, we're going to go into a lot about attraction and then how to lead the actual dating process. And I'm going to give you a step by step plan. Attraction is hard for many when we don't understand it and we don't feel like we can be attractive ourselves. And let me be clear, attractive does not mean I'm an attractive person, look at the way I look. No, attractive also from the outside in, right? Clarity, trust, self-worth, respect for yourself, right? Boundaries, your values, all of that lives in that wheelhouse, okay? And so attraction, if you're missing key elements of that inside of attraction, yes, it will be difficult, but that's what I'm here for too. um, and also, too, one of the things is basically having standards for the women that you date, right? That is a big one. So, attraction, guys, is not just about logic. Okay. Many of us think that attraction is going to be about logic, meaning if I have a six pack, then this woman is going to like me. If I'm a musician, then she's going to like me. So I'm going to learn how to play the guitar. If I'm a great dancer, she's going to like me. So I'm going to go to salsa classes. I'm going to become the best dancer. So when I'm out dancing a woman without dancing, women are going to be attracted to me. If I'm super stylish, then she's going to be attracted. Then women will like me. If I develop all of these skills, basically, she will like me. This is all about action, 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 action here. Okay. This is all doing energy, right? If I do this, she will then approve of me. If I do this, she will then like me, right? So this is actually approval seeking behavior. Now, these skills and these things that you do and embrace in yourself should be for you. Because even though this can help you basically get the eyes on you, of course, and help you in the sense of becoming a better dancer, maybe less socially awkward because you don't put yourself out of your comfort zone. You're doing these things for you. You're doing it to get yourself out there, to get yourself less socially awkward at times, for example, instead of I'm going to do this to get her to like me. I'm going to get this for a woman to like me. I'm going to do all these things. I'm going to put it into action, okay? But even though this helps, you can learn a lot. You can learn a bunch of skills and it can help you bring women in the door, of course, but it's not sustainable attraction. So what happens when you get the six pack? What happens? And you don't really know the sustainable attraction part. It gets the woman into the door, great. But if you're looking for sustainable results, then this won't be helpful for you. And that's what I teach a lot in my traction coaching. So men like this typically, when they get to this point, become the guy that made so typically, let me be really clear. Men like this typically become the guy that made women think that he is attractive. Okay. Keyword. When we're doing this, we're saying to ourselves, I'm going to become the guy to make her think that I'm attractive. Make her think that I'm attractive, keyword. But instead, rather than that, why don't we become the guy who women actually felt attracted to? Felt, keyword. Okay? I want you to remember that, what I just said. So let's say that, for example, you're someone that goes out and you don't really have any problems with meeting women. You don't have problems talking to women. Maybe you also, have a good time here and there with women. Great. But also in you're like, but I don't like these women. I don't know why I'm just gravitating towards a certain type of woman. What is wrong with me? Why can't I really like these women? It's hard for me. I really want a high value woman. I'm not really finding connection with these women. I hear it all the time. Okay. So let's say that you meet up with a girl, for example, and and I talk about this a lot, is when you are trying to continue a conversation with a woman and then you're struggling and it's a first time for you, I always say, make sure you start to get into a flow. Don't make it a question dynamic, but find something to break the waters, okay? Like a commonality, something like this. But let's say that you meet a woman and you meet her online. Let's say you meet her at a coffee shop, or during an approach or an event, anywhere, okay? And you start talking, and it turns out that you guys have commonalities, right? She also just got back from traveling from Peru. She also loves Pilates. She also is a vegan. I don't know, right? And this helps you build rapport. It helps you break the ice, basically, right? But it isn't enough to establish an attraction, guys. And this is where we go wrong. Sometimes when I've coached men, they think that, and this is because they're taking the advice too logical, which it's very common in the men's world, obviously, because of how men's are wired to think too. But I think it's also reframing the logic and saying, instead of trying to always find commonalities because this is how the woman is going to like me. Remember where I started? I want to the man that is wanting to make this woman think that he is attractive. No, you become the man that a woman actually felt attracted to. So now, if we're continuing to try to find commonalities and in our head, we're like, oh, we're doing great because we have all these commonalities between us and she's going to like me. She's really going to like me. So I have this and I went to Peru and I have this six pack and she loves musicians and all this stuff, right? Well, it's going to open the door it's going to build rapport for the both of you, but it's not going to establish that feeling, which I'm going to go into in just a moment, on how to actually attract a woman. And so many times men will say or think when they attract a woman, because we have all these commonalities and she really liked what I had to say and we were laughing, we are giggling and all this stuff. And the date went on for like two hours, definitely going to get a call back. And then all of a sudden she texts you and she's like, hey, I really had a great time on our date, but I'm just not really feeling a romantic connection, but I definitely want to remain friends. I think you're super cool. And it's not anything to be ashamed of because you're not a woman yourself. Okay, guys, I am. And that's why I'm here to get you to understand how attraction works for women. And so that's the basis of attraction when you find commonalities between two humans. You know how I talk about intent, flirting, seduction, all of this. The magic carpet ride is something I talk about all the time. A woman gets elated and attracted to you by the experiences and how she feels. Okay. So when you find commonalities and you just stick on commonalities, which a lot of men will do on their dates, and they'll say, oh, yeah, me too. Oh, yeah. How about Peru? Did you like it? And da da da. Oh my gosh, it's so crazy. We have so much in common. And you guys are just talking about commonalities the whole date, and you think it went great. So there was a basis of attraction. There's a basis of attraction as a friendship, possibly, or a guy that she thinks is nice, but not a guy that she feels like can seduce her or she would want to eventually sleep with or have a family with or marry and so on. And here's why. Because you did nothing to validate her emotional decision to being seductively attracted to you as the man that she wants to be with, marry, sleep with, and so on. We didn't separate her emotional feeling, okay? Women base attraction on their emotional decisions about you and how they feel. Okay. Example, we were just talking about this actually in my group coaching yesterday. And one of the things that I said is, how many of you guys, and say yes in the comments, have seen a man with a woman? And we maybe will know why this happens, but majority of sometimes you see a woman and they look pretty dang happy. Or maybe you have friends that you know or family members and the woman is pretty cute and the guy's just okay, right? She's really pretty and the guy's just okay. Yeah, some are out there that they could be just using them for their money. And this is a rich guy and he's probably flaunting it as well. And then has this beautiful woman in his arm. But I'm not talking about those situations. I'm talking about when you see a woman, or maybe you have sisters or best friends or cousins that are girls, and you were like, and you heard this before from women. yeah, he wasn't really my type when I first met him. Remember, like married couples, and they'll tell you, you ask them, how did you meet? And they're like, yeah, he wasn't really my first type in the beginning, but he began to grow on me. He grew on me. This is the number one thing every woman says typically when she's in a long term relationship with a man or has been with a man. I would say about 6 out of 10 to 7 out of 10. This is just statistically in my own mind by with interviews that I've done, women I've talked to. It's not like study proven or anything like this, but I'm just saying like 6 out of 7, I think out of 10 women definitely will be with a man and always have the story. Well, I wasn't really attracted to him at first. Okay. And the reason why most women will say this is because of the fact that they base attraction off of an emotional decision. Even though they weren't attracted to him at first, he became more attractive to her because of the attraction that he ignited in her emotional decisions of why she became attracted to him. Understand? So, this is how you attract women. So, remember, commonalities and building rapport are also great for icebreakers and kind of showing the woman that you're not cuckoo or creep or anything like this, right? Because a woman's number one priority around a man is safety all the time. But it's not enough to build the emotional attraction themselves. Okay. Now that we broke this down, I want to get into what this is. And this is everything I practice and I preach and everything. And I was like, I've never done a video about this. I'm going to do a live about this because I want the guys to really get what I'm saying and be able to be here with you and ask these questions because I'm going to be taking some questions as well at the end. Okay. So here's what emotional attraction is. For a woman to fall for you, she needs to feel something. And think about this. In order for you to feel something, when you close your eyes and you go to the beach and you escape, you feel it because why? You have a mental image of it, right? Anything, if you really think about the things that you feel, typically you'll get a mental image of it. Especially when you go through heartbreak and you think about that person, you feel pain, right? Because you're thinking about that person. It's some sort of mental image for you, right? So, inside of emotional attraction, women need to have this image of who you are. And so that's why I say pacing is the root of attraction, short term, long term, marriage, everything you do, guys. And it is not a game. Let me break this down what it means. If a woman, think about this. If a woman bases attraction on how she feels about you emotionally and needs a mental image of you, do you think that she can get that in a week? Do you think she can get it in a day? Do you think she can get it in 2 weeks? Do you think she can get it in 3 weeks? Do you think she can get it in a month? Probably not. And that's why I always talk about that crock pot method that got so fun and famous. I hear it all the time. Women are not a microwave. Women are crock pots, okay? Men in attraction are usually microwaves, okay? But woman is a crock pot. You got to go back, you got to spice it a little bit, you got to let it simmer all day. You got to do all of this, right? And so, one of the things that I would really encourage you guys to understand, I want you to also focus on being able to love the process of attraction and taking your time. And set aside from this, another motto of what I say is men need to have standards for the women they date. Think about this. If you had standards for the women that you dated, how easily would you jump in with a woman just because of her looks and get faded and jaded by everything else? Probably very much more slim, let's just say, right? Because in order for a man to have standards, he must take his time to get to know if that woman could even meet his standards. He wouldn't be able to know ever and ever just automatically. Okay. So this is on both sides of the fences. So it's about how you make her feel, of course, and what emotions do you bring out in her. So many times I see men trying to take the easy way out or stay cohesive in the emotional attraction part, right? So he might be scared to take risk. He might be scared to speak up. He's being too neutral, meaning he's the yes man, right? So let's say the woman is like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's on my desk, Joe Malone lotion. And you're like, oh, I can't stand Joe Malone. Like they're so overpriced and their scents are horrible. Not true, Joe Malone. This is not a sponsor, obviously. I have to put some humor in here. Anyways, so with that said, you have to be not scared to uh, not be neutral, right? Because what we do in attraction sometimes is we stay too safe, we stay too neutral, right? We stay in that commonality part of being neutral. Okay. And so if we stay in that commonality part, what happens is she doesn't feel anything. You probably are not feeling too much either, but you're scared to make that risk. Okay. And you're scared to take the risk. You're scared to have an opinion. Um, you become more of the yes man. Maybe you talk too much, you take too much negative risk, meaning you become arrogant on your dates, which is completely opposite, right? You become overly cocky, overly arrogant because you feel like you need to put up this facade. But, here's where that bad boy effect comes in, okay? Um, so if you think about neutral being in the middle, positive emotion and negative emotion, okay? You want to blossom into positive emotion about 60 to 70% of your dates with women, and then maybe the other 20 to 30. And this is where opinions, maybe a little bit of, what you agree on, what she doesn't like. I don't like oysters. Well, I love lobster. Great. Let's meet in the middle, whatever. Okay. That's what I mean here. Now, when we are too much in the middle, then we're going to be in the friend zone possibly. But when we're too much on the negative, this is where that bad boy effect comes in, where so many men are like, oh, why do bad boys always get the women and blah, 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 blah. Here's why. Because there's two caveats to this. Because the bad boy effect, let's just call it, the one that stems from all negative emotions, making a woman qualify herself to you, demeaning her a little bit, all this stuff, okay, elates an emotion in a woman. And it also elates dopamine. So she ends up wanting to go back there because I don't know why. He just gives me this feeling. I know he's bad for me, but I just like him. I don't know why, right? How many times have you heard women say this? Probably sisters, everybody, cousins. Anyways, here's why. That. Now, the second thing to this, what I wanted to say is that will not work on women who know themselves very well and also women who are not insecure. This typically happens with women who are starting to grow into womanhood or don't know themselves yet or have come out of a traumatic experience, haven't healed, or have a low sense of self-worth. And those tactics will work on those. A high value woman will walk away fast from a man that does that. Okay. So, with that said, you've all seen Disney movies, you've all seen movies that maybe it seems so real in real life, where maybe the woman is an absolute beautiful woman, right? And she has all of these nice guys, and she has so many men after her, but she picks the one guy that's not the good one, right? And then of course you're like, what are you doing? She's going to break your heart, right? This happens often in movies. And so a lot of times our wiring of how we think love is can also come from these Hollywood movies, which is a big facade of everything. And I would never say to think and base love off of that and really understand attraction first. Okay. And now she is also the one that is also, so here's the thing. The reason why I think it's also so likely for a woman to choose a man that is great for her, a good man, not the nice man, the yes man, but a good man, opposed to the bad boy guy, not the guy that's good for her, is because she knows clearly what she wants. Okay. So you have to align yourself with that. So, with that said, you want to align yourself with her. And this is where you have the positive emotions when you do align herself with you. Because when you elate or put in negative emotions and become this person that's not 100% authentic, you will attract women on the other hand, but it'll give you it probably won't lead, I should say, to lasting, sustainable love, romance, marriage, or in a healthy relationship, to be honest. So, this is why I talk about the magic carpet ride so much. So, let's go into this. What are the steps for emotional attraction, right? So now we know what emotional attraction is. What are the steps of emotional attraction? What lives inside of emotional attraction? Okay. So why I talk about this magic carpet ride so much and all of this and I go like this when I talk about it. Why? Because here you can flirt. Here you're sharing an emotional story. Here you're sharing banter. Here you're teasing. Here you have a serious conversation. Here you're flirting with her. Now you're leading into seduction. Now you're talking about something that you went through in life that you guys have a commonality in. Now you see what I mean? You're giving her an experience. You're not trying to stay safe of, okay, let me just talk about commonalities the whole time and this is a magic carpet ride. No, it's not. But you want to always be able to be in flow and be comfortable with all these experiences within yourself first, instead of saying, okay, I need to follow this procedure. Let me write it on my hand. Let me say this line. It becomes inauthentic and you just are not in flow. Because I can never tell you, and no, I don't think anybody could. And if they promise you, they're promising and under delivering, because there's no, every date and every person is different. I can't tell you a woman's not going to kiss you on the first date because every woman is different. I don't know how you're going to act. I don't know how the energy is going to be. I don't know how you're going to be attracted to each other. But what I will tell you is you should be able to flirt some on your first date with a woman. It typically can happen within the first 10, 30, 1 hour. It depends on you, the conversation, and how open she is too. Okay. And now, one of the other things that I want you to remember within these emotional triggers to create an emotional experience. These are your emotional triggers. That's why I teach everything in my 12-week group, my 12-week traction coaching program, where they coach with me for 12 weeks live. You coach with me for 12 weeks. I dissect this everything inside of attraction, so it's molded to you. Okay, that is the biggest thing. It's not a specific act that you have to encounter. It's, for example, we have this guy. He's so funny, and in our group coaching now, and his laugh is the funniest laugh I think I've ever heard in my life. And every time he laughs, we all literally continue to laugh for like a good 3 minutes straight on the group call yesterday. It was so funny. We were laughing at his laugh, and he was laughing at us laughing that he was laughing at his laugh. Like, it just was contagious. Okay. And this is what I will tell you. And I told him, own that. When you are on a date with a woman, call out your laugh and tell him, tell her, I have the funniest laugh ever. Women fall in love with my laugh. I'm not gonna lie. And when she hears you laugh, it becomes even funnier. Okay. So the reason why I share this with you is because emotional triggers are about the experience that you're able to adapt to you. Give yourself the good time, and the woman will be able to follow. If you can take the lead in your life, the woman can be able to follow. If you can take the lead in finding confidence in the things that you thought were unconfident, like a laugh or something that you weren't prideful about in your past, and you find the confidence in that, someone else is going to see it as a confident thing about you as well. But if you don't vision it as confidence, if you don't vision it as worthy, if you don't vision it as good, nobody else will see it. It starts with you. Everything starts with you. That's why I know a lot of you subscribe to my channel, because I talk about how to attract women, get the dream, desired life, woman relationship, because it starts from the inside. I don't give nothing else but sustainable results. That's why my that's why my men that do everything with me basically and do a lot of coaching and do things with us, I have a high success rate, guys. I get all the time marriage invites. At least I get a minimum of 2 marriage invites a month. I have it on my testimonial pages too. With that said, let me go back into this. If we have emotional triggers in our attraction process of emotional attraction, and we learn what these emotional triggers are, which is embracing polarity, understanding how to adapt to masculine energy, especially if a man is leading too much in feminine energy. I am not a coach because I'm a woman that believes a man needs to lead in feminine. Absolutely not. I think a man needs to own his masculine energy and understand what that is at least 80% of his dating, relationship, and marriage. And he needs to have an adapt to feminine energy at times when he needs to support his woman and himself and his family and his children and so much more. But many men don't understand this because it brings in polarity. When you don't have polarity in your relationship, mark my words, and your marriage, this is the one thing that leads us to either separate or divorce. I'm a big believer in this, guys, and also lack of communication. And so emotional triggers live in polarity, flirting, banter, playfulness, emotionally connecting, vulnerability. Okay, this is why I talk about vulnerability, boundaries and how we communicate, effective communication, and our values, and so much more. Okay, that's why I believe attraction is such a big game changer in everything. In everything. And so, if you're able to hit her emotional triggers, imagine, how is this woman going to feel around you? Like, just imagine when you were dating a woman, let's just think of a woman that you really liked one time in your past or now. She probably hit some emotional triggers with you. Maybe some of them were not good, right? Because that's also a trauma bonding experience, which we talk a lot about on this channel. But let's think about it. Let's talk about someone you idolize a little bit, a healthy idolization, like someone that is in personal development, someone that speaks on stages, someone that you look up to, you follow on Instagram, and they have really great content, right? They elate something in you, some emotional trigger that gets you to find joy in what they say, to believe what they say, to want to be inspired by their word, for you to change your life around, to believe that what they're saying, to be motivated by that, right? The same thing happens with a woman. When a woman is actually able to step more into her feminine than the presence of a heterosexual relationship in a masculine man, she will then be able to become safe in being submissive to her man, because she knows when she is quote unquote submissive, she won't be taken advantage of. The man is still going to nurture her and care and love and care and nurture her, but she will also be able to do the same in return. One of the things too, guys, inside of seduction, many times we go wrong in seduction because of the fact that we think that we have to perform, okay? We think that we have to do something in order to get her. Remember what I said in the beginning? Where we fail with a woman is we typically become the guy that made women think that he is attractive, rather than the guy who actually makes a woman feel attracted to him. Okay? So when you make a woman think, it comes from doing energy. It comes from you trying to put on the best show, you trying to follow all these steps and all these things, instead of just understanding how to embrace these sides of you. Make sense? And so when we're not able to embrace these sides within us, what happens is what? We become inauthentic. A woman gives you the text and says, I'm sorry, but I just don't feel a connection with you. What else? I'm just not ready for a relationship. Or also too, we get so blinded in trying to make this woman like us that we also forget that maybe she's not the right person for me. And I'm dismissing all of these red flags because I'm trying to make this woman think that I'm attractive, instead of you feeling it out and you being intentful and setting the standards for the women you date. So it doesn't have to come down to just getting the girl. What it comes down to is, do I really want this woman? Is she really a good fit for me? Let's find out. And now you start to leave the dating process.
Guys, thanks for watching. If you want to continue watching, I would really highly request for you to watch this next video right over here. It's all about flirting and text messages that you can send to women. And as always, if this is your first time viewing, hit that subscribe button. And remember, you are always loved, and I'll see you in the next video.